could never forget this moment. I was sitting at the dinner table with my parents, and I was thinking deeply of, I just got done reading a book by Phil McKibben. I was probably 12 or 13 years old, and it was called The End of Nature. And again, this was 1982, give or take, 1980ish. And that book, of course, is all about the fact that at that point in time, we were reaching critical mass. And in fact, we were probably already beyond critical mass in the fact of the damage that we had done to Mother Earth and the rainforest, and raping and pillaging its own natural raw resources. But bottom line, my mother, I was sitting there thinking about this book, and looked like I was depressed. And my mother said to me, "Chris, wait, you're 13 years old. Why are you so unhappy?" And I couldn't really get the words out back then, because as a 13-year-old, you can't intellectually project what you're actually thinking as easily as I can now. But even back then, I understood that there was something wrong with the world. It was critically wrong. And it caused me years and years and years and years of feeling like an alien in my own world. And I think part of that idea is that maybe I was adopted, and I found out that I have some indigenous Native American blood in me. And that's probably what that whole idea and that feeling started from, and that's probably why I'm here right now talking about it. Is that those people, they were known as bad people that drank whiskey and were alcoholics, and they were rebels, and they were cannibals, and they were just not worth life. But in fact, those people had such a better way of living, such a better way of understanding their surroundings and cherishing it and taking care of it. But walking through life and talk about those types of ideals with different people, and the typical response would be, "Oh, you stupid hippie, you radical, you conspiracy theorist." No. It's no conspiracy theory. Those theories are true. And so many more people should be out speaking openly about the fact that those entities, those evil international conglomerate corporations, are wrong, and they're physically and intellectually and intentionally trying to not only destroy the earth, but they're trying to manipulate the masses. Well, they are manipulating the masses. They're trying to put us into their little time warp and make us believe that this is a reality that we all have to live in, but we don't. And it's up to us to think out of that box and to help good to prevail over evil.
It's like recycling your own life and realizing, coming to a real realism of what's about to happen. In other words, Mother Earth is shaking us up. This year alone, there's been how many catastrophes already?
Well, there's been, of course, the recent 8.8 earthquake in Chile. There's been the quake, the 6.9 quake yesterday in Japan. There was a catastrophe in Haiti months ago. The writing's on the wall. This is not, again, two deranged hippies talking about end of days. It's physically happening right before our very eyes. And this kind of stuff, unfortunately, is probably going to keep on happening, and exponentially, and more consistency as we get closer to that day of 2012, to December 21st, the winter solstice of 2012. And again, it's not the end of days as we know it. Those are just words. It's the shift of a bad consciousness and a bad time and a bad era shifting into what we all can make into a better era. And it's my goal by talking about this stuff is to help other people to understand that. I certainly don't think that I'm a rocket scientist or I'm some crazy, not even crazy, a world savior. I'm a voice. I'm a portal. That's all I am. And I embrace that, and it's fun. I'm glad I figured that out.
And I'm a person that come about on my own from recycling Mother Nature, meaning that I sculpt in driftwood, and now I can sculpt in marble. I can actually sculpt in a piece of conch shell, for that matter. However, my point is that I guess I was given a gift, and it separated me from the job for time and space beetles. And we're talking about people that have actually died for their jobs. The stress burned to death.
Sure.
And that means that person actually accomplished what?
He sacrificed his whole life
For nothing.
for being part of the machine.
Because nobody brought a grain, no one's taking anything with him. So why is it that we can't enjoy and be human beings and take away all these stupid corporate slaves, or enslavers rather, for the sake of their money?
Right. We should have people, those same corporate managers and presidents and executives that are making millions and millions of dollars off of us, their slaves. There's intelligent people that would work for a fraction of that could help to inspire the world into a better place and a better time. And this recent financial fallout is a pure symptom of that whole paradigm being broken. It's never going to come back and work again. It never did work. That was an experiment gone bad from the day it started 100 years ago.
And there's been a lot of experiments.
And while we're talking about that bailout, just to shed some light on that, that bailout was nothing more than the rich and the elite of the world redistributing that wealth that was almost fictitious wealth in itself that some of us thought we enjoyed, to those same elitist brothers and executives that are at the top of the corporate ladder, people like the chairmen of GMC and Halliburton, and the list goes on and on and on. But that redistribution of wealth was very simple in the fact that there was $2 trillion that was allocated to help stimulate the U.S. economy, and it didn't go to us, the taxpayers. Again, it went to the elitists of the world.
The brainwashing is going to have to stop, or you just have lived in vain. It's got to stop, or you're living in vain. In vain meaning that you'll raise your children, and their children will raise their children, as we have seen. And now in these wars, as they call wars, powers to be over other sides of powers to be, fighting over what? Over something that's not even theirs, because nobody came with a grain of sand.
Something else that's relevant to this conversation, it's always, Louis, obviously he's been on this earth 2 to 2.5 decades longer than I have been, but I went through this similar era of the 60s. Well, the end of the 60s I was alive. I didn't obviously understand it then, but in the 70s and 80s for sure. And I've always had this infatuation with the fact that everybody that seemed like they were ever making any good and doing any positive changes for the rest of the world, for some reason, some bizarre, mysterious reason, quote unquote, they died at a very young age. Go back to people, just throwing out a few names: Martin Luther King, John F. Kennedy, John Lennon, Jimi Hendrix, Jim Morrison, Louis Adson. You got some people I know.
Bob Marley.
Bob Marley.
Off the top. There's so many messages. In other words, there have been so many ways. I mean, we were all little kids, and we all got these beautiful gifts, but we got gifts to give back that our memory banks will immediately flash and go, oh, right, remember this guy? Wow, yeah, he died so young. Oh, remember this?
Right.
Oh, yeah, he died so young. And yeah, they made money because they woke people up. And gave them love.
Getting back to and I hate using the term conspiracy theory, but it is what it is. I always found it very bizarre that those people did die at such a young age, and I tend to believe that maybe not everybody, I'm sure with some of the pop stars and rock stars, there was drugs involved, and they just died at a very unfortunate age because of the use of that substance. Right. But not 100% of those people. For instance, let's use John Lennon as an example. He died it was December 8th, 1981. And it's funny, I've never been a straight A student, but I can remember that time vividly. In social studies, we had